Hiya, Tony here with part two of my Bangkok video. Part one was a breakdown of what to expect within Bangkok, and you might well have a breakdown if you go to the wrong part of Bangkok. It's some of the pros, some of the cons. The pros are okay, pretty good, but the cons are really bad, the traffic and so on. But check that video out. Anyway, part two is about the day trips, because one fantastic thing about Bangkok is that they do have loads of good day trips for you to go on. So I am going to give you an overview of the places that we went when we're in Bangkok. Starting off with number one, and this is really hard to pronounce, but I'm going to try it. Ayutthaya, famous temple tours, something along those lines. This was quite an easy-going trip, actually. They take you to a few of the different ruins. I'm going to completely garble these pronunciations, so apologies. But the first stop was Wat Mahatat. That is one of the oldest temples, famous for this, the Buddha image in a tree. That's quite quirky. I like that. Then it's on to the Wat Phra Sri Sanfet, which is another one of these ancient ruins. The interesting one was a nice big gold Buddha image. That is, I'm not even going to bother pronouncing that. It's too different. And then there's the Wat. I'm not going to pronounce that either, but that's the reclining Buddha. This was a pretty straightforward tour, really, just going around some of the nicer historic aspects. So, a pleasant way to spend a few hours. Okay, our second excursion now, and it's going on water. We're going to the floating markets. This was quite fun. Actually, I enjoyed it. The boat ride up along the river was pleasant. There was lots of greenery, so it felt like you're getting out of the hustle and bustle of Bangkok. There was a nice stop off at an orchid farm. Some pretty pictures that I am putting on there now. Obviously, the main event for this day trip is the floating markets themselves. I don't know how much of it is just touristy shtick and how much of it is actually a real functioning market, but I really liked it. I thought there was a huge selection of different things: food, drink, textiles, whatever you want to buy. The actual just uniqueness of having all these sort of market stalls and buying things from a river and people cooking on their boat and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not sure how authentic it actually is, but I just thought there was just a great vibrancy about it. There was a great buzz, the different colours, the smells, just the background was just great photography. Oh, I've never done anything like that before, so I haven't done anything since. So the very base level is that you're going to get some fantastic photos. So that's definitely a consideration. In terms of the tourism trap, there's a couple of hints in there. There's quite a few hustlers around. You see these guys with the snakes, which is always not particularly pleasant to see people exploiting animals. And to cap it all off, like the piece de resistance is you get to visit a tatty tutty market where they sell carved wooden goods for probably ridiculously overinflated prices. So if you avoid that and just enjoy the actual floating markets, then this is a great option for you. One thing I do enjoy about traveling the world is you go so many different places and you'll always find something somewhere where the British have had an influence, either for the good or for the not so good. This next tour was particularly interesting for me because I didn't know a huge amount about the World War II in Asia and especially some of the stuff that went on there. We tend to get it through a very European lens. So the next day trip is to Kanchanaburi tour. Now, Kanchanaburi is a World War II history tour. It takes you to a couple of places that are of historic importance, certainly to a lot of the British and Allied soldiers who fought in Thailand and against the Japanese in Asia generally. The first stop is the Jet Museum, which includes a replica of a Japanese prisoner of war camp. That gives you some indication of what a lot of these men had to go through. This is made even more poignant at the cemetery, the war cemetery for the 9,000 Allied soldiers who died while building the bridge and constructing the railway, which was known as Death Railway, to give you an indication of just how brutal it was. Then, of course, you finally go up to actually see the infamous bridge, which is nothing like it appears on the film, but it's still very, very moving, actually, and it gave me an insight into one of those very difficult times of human history and how many people suffered. So it's not the cheeriest of trips by any means, but it's very important and makes you appreciate what you have. The final tour we did was to Irwan Waterfall. It wasn't just the waterfall, there's a couple of other things along the way which were, yeah, pretty good actually. The first stop was at a farm, a local farm. This was a chance to some local food. It turned out to be lunch, but the guy did some nice cooking for us, some fantastic tom yam soup, and cooked a lovely fish. They do ask you about whether it's spicy or not spicy, but it's all pretty tame, so don't get too concerned with having any digestive problems with eating too much chili. The main point is the waterfall, of course, so that is a bit of a walk through the rainforests. They do give you leech socks. They gave us leech socks. I'm not quite sure whether that's just for to make us feel like we're actually trekking through a real jungle, but it wasn't actually trekking through the jungle. It was all safe paths. It was a bit rainy and overcast that day, so the waterfall isn't picture perfect. It was quite raw, but that's good. Raw nature. That was then followed by elephant walk ride, I should say. More walk, the elephant was walking. What can you say? These fantastic creatures, majestic creatures, and a lot of Asian tourist places do elephant rides. This was actually a better one than we did say. We did one in Malaysia that was just a park, so you just sort of walk around the park. It was actually walking through the jungle. And yeah, it was a little bit hairy on the back of an elephant, to be honest. It was one of the big ones. So just hold on tight, keep yourself strapped in. But that's a good way to round off a holiday, an elephant ride. So there you have it. Those are my recommendations for day trips from Bangkok. As I said, Bangkok's a great place for day trips. So if you are going there, definitely make use of all these fantastic places to go. Everything you could need, really, whether you want something more profound and poignant, or you want something with nature, whether it's waterfalls or animal rides, or also if you wanted something a little bit touristy like the floating market. There's something for everybody. So enjoy.